I'm about to go live with Lauren Roxburgh. She's an international best-selling author, a speaker, a wellness educator, and she's been dubbed the Body Whisperer. And just so you guys know, all of these playbacks will be on EverTalk TV. So if you miss anything, or if you got to go run and do homeschooling with your kids, you can always come back and watch any of these at EverTalk. Good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, I've been here. I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
it's
here.
fine. No worries. That's the first time I've actually requested somebody, so I learned.
Oh, awesome. I know, I'm like going, where are all the buttons? I always get confused which one to choose. So
Yeah.
it's all new.
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, my kids are out doing a little activity right now. So I have a little
good.
time to be fully present with you and everyone here. So
Oh, nice. I love it. How are you guys adapting to everything?
Oh, I mean, it's always a work in progress. We're trying to see the silver lining in it all, but it's not easy with the two little ones. I love being home, and I work from home already, and I do all my stuff online now. So I feel like I've kind of set myself up for a good position with my work, but it's just the juggle of all the hats we're wearing right now as moms and mompreneurs,
You were prepared for quarantine though. You're digital pretty much, right?
Yeah. Which took a while to get there fully, but I feel so grateful that we all have the opportunity to do that right now. So it's amazing.
And how old are your girls?
So the little one is almost 3 in May. She'll be 3, and then the older one is almost 7.
Oh, they're little babies.
They are little. Yeah. And you have a son?
Yeah, I have a son. He's going to be 16 in May.
Wow.
So it's a different boat. It's a different boat for me. I have a little bit more sympathy for people that have younger kids right now, and where they actually have to homeschool. And like my son's pretty much he's self-sufficient with the homeschooling and his Zoom calls and all that stuff.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are getting exhausted by these little ones, let me tell you, because they're constant. It's like always something. So yeah, but it's obviously here for a reason, and I'm happy to have more time with them and like have build those bonds. So it's special. In many ways.
It's special, and that is the blessing in it.
Totally.
But you're considered the Body Whisperer.
Yeah.
and I stalked your videos, and there's a bunch of stuff. I mean, I have a ballet background. I'm a yoga teacher. But there's a bunch of stuff that I was like, that looks so yummy. Like things that I never even thought to do, like with your roller, and you have all these little tools. You guys, if you guys are not following Lauren, go follow her. And she also has an entire line. You have an Aligned Healing Studio, Aligned Healing Tools.
Yes.
Which looks so fun. Like the rebounder, I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
And the roller. And I mean, you have a bunch of other stuff. But like, so do you use all that stuff on a regular basis, or what do you?
Oh yeah. Well, so my background is, I was an athlete. I was an All-American swimmer, and then I was always like really tight and rigid and kind of had that thick density, kind of the opposite of a dancer really, but was really fast and really good and super competitive. So I kind of always had that confidence and knowing like if I was good at something. So anyway, I continued to do that. I played water polo at UC Santa Barbara. And then I went on a journey to, and that was really fun. I graduated from there. And,
water polo is no joke.
It is no joke. Yeah, that is a hardcore sport.
Yeah.
It really is. And then, but I was always on this I had this passion because my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 16. And so I always had this sort of curiosity about wellness. And, I used to drive her to her chemo treatments we were living in Northern California when I was in high school. And she was getting her treatments at Stanford. And I used to ask the doctor, so where does cancer come from? Like, what is this disease all about? And they would say, oh, it's environmental and it's genetic, but really we don't know 100% where it comes from. And they were honest, at least. So I put myself on my own journey of curiosity of wanting to learn about mind, body, spirit, health, and emotional health too. Because I knew I could see and witness my mom was going through a divorce from my dad. And she was very much like a victim mentality and had a broken heart. She was holding that emotional energy in her heart chakra. And that's why, and she believed this too, that's why she did manifest breast cancer. Because, when we lower our vibration, we're more susceptible to dis-ease or inflammation and all of those things. So from a very young age.
That's very young age to
young.
understand that. Yeah.
Right. So,
yeah.
But I feel really blessed to have gone through that. And then to also spend basically my college years and my 20s, like studying all these different holistic modalities. So I studied Pilates, was my first thing that I really got into so passionately. Pilates. It's the best. There's nothing better as far as like getting all that space and length and building those gorgeous functional muscles. So that's really the beginning of my whole foundation. And that's when I discovered the roller. One of my first certification programs, I was introduced to the foam roller. And then it was love at first sight with that thing, because I was this thick, dense, heavy, tight, rigid human. And I was holding a lot of tension in my jaw, my pelvic floor, my lower back, my hamstrings. So that roller was like such a tool for me. And also it was just a great way to, do stuff on your own without, having to be at a studio or a gym. And it's just like super affordable. Almost everyone has access to a roller. Not everyone, but almost most people do, at least when they were going to the gym and stuff. So basically I studied Pilates, and then I studied Thai yoga, massage, Reiki, lots of different forms of yoga. And then what really clicked for me was when I discovered structural integration, which is a form of Rolfing. Do you know? You probably have.
I do.
Rolf.
Yeah. I've had it done. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ida Rolf was the woman. She was in the 1960s. She was a rocket scientist, and she technically discovered fascia. Fascia is our connective tissue. It lays on our whole body. It lays underneath the skin and above the muscle. It wraps around each individual muscle and around our organs. It also is kind of like this living tapestry that's like a scaffolding that holds us up in gravity. It's also where we hold our emotional energy and our emotional blockages. So a lot of, energy and motion is held in our tissue, and our meridians also are encased inside of our fascia. So it's very important when we're dealing with energy. And the lymph nodes are in the fascia as well, and also the nerves. So those three systems are all affected. So if you want to be the healthiest version of ourselves, we really need to be addressing our connective tissue. So that's why I started using the roller as homework with, I was working with like some of the biggest athletes and celebrities on the planet. And they would be like, how do I keep this feeling when I'm not with you? And I said, well, you can use these tools. So I created a whole system around these tools that they could use on their own. And then of course, like you, super creative, always wanting to tap into my creativity, I channel in like more ideas of more tools and ways of kind of keeping this whole thing going to keep serving the community too. So yeah.
And that's so interesting too, because even as a yoga teacher, I'm not actively teaching, but people always ask me like, how do I get flexible, or how do I do this? How do I do that? I think these things, everything you mentioned, is so underrated. People just want to go do circuit training or lift weights or do something, and they forget this whole other part. And exactly what you were talking about, that how everything's connected. I mean, when I used to teach yoga, I would have so many students just have crying episodes when we would get deep into the hips and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think, what a beautiful time right now to start. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, is like use this time wisely, but also to take time to do things that I normally don't have time to do, or I just kind of put on the back burner. Mm-hmm. What a beautiful thing to start doing. Like, get a roller and start like rolling out, watch your videos.
Totally.
And,
there's no better time than now to be doing this. It's like everyone, I feel like, like you said, puts it at the bottom of their to-do list, and they're like rushing around and flying and traveling and driving and rushing and traffic. So they're like, oh, I don't have time for that. So now there's kind of no excuse, right? And we really need to manage our stress. It's almost for mental health too, managing our stress and reducing the cortisol levels, because scientifically, foam rolling, or rolling in general, I call it body rolling, has been proven to stimulate serotonin, oxytocin, lower cortisol levels. And also because science is calling our fascia, our connective tissue, our sensory organ, anytime we do work with our fascia, our tissues, we're starting to calm our nervous system down and go into more of that parasympathetic state, rest, digest, and heal. So it's a very empowering thing to be working with our tissues, our connective tissue, for our mind, for our body, for our spirit, for also just shedding those layers of tension, stress, fears, whatever we've been holding on to. Like I always say, like kind of that emotional baggage, like carrying that bag of coals around with us, or guilt, or resentment, or fear. So it's a really important time right now to be doing that. And also, if you want to use this time to get more fit, or do more yoga, or do more weights, or whatever it is, like add in your body rolling first, because that will help hydrate your tissue, put you in better alignment, turn on proprioception, that brain body connection. Like I said, reduce cortisol level, keep you in more of a calmer state, feel more connected to your authentic self too. Because, you know, I think you and I both do believe that our physical body is just the kind of entryway into really connecting to our higher self, and sort of how we can be of service and connect to our gifts too.
And I love that, doing it first, because then you just you kind of get it out of the way. Don't like leave it hanging and not do it.
It's so true.
I'm
workouts will be better.
After this, I'm like, I'm gonna go get on my roller.
Yes, babe, that'd be awesome.
And you talked a little bit about belly rolling, which sounds so fascinating to me, because I'm a big advocate of just rubbing my belly. I do belly rubs all the time. Like as if I was a baby, you know, I just do belly rubs. I like feeling the organs. Some people don't like doing that, but I love it every night. I put oil on, and I, you know, anything to get digestion moving and get everything going. So I'm assuming it's kind of similar, like you're rolling on the thing. Yeah.
So basically, so I wrote this book called The Power Source. I'll just show you guys.
Which I love that name.
Right?
That name. Yeah.
Exactly. Because it means multiple things. Like, to me, source is source, like universal source. It's our source within and also in the universe. You know, you can call it God, whatever. But also the source for me in this book too is the pelvic floor, the root. So many of our issues that we have in our bodies are held in our root chakra, which you can probably speak more of than I can. I don't have that background.
It's so funny you say this, because I literally did a whole email that's going out tomorrow on the root chakra.
Oh, no way.
And how it's so correlating with everything going on right now, because it's where our fear and insecurity is. And, you know, we could either feel safe or unsafe. And if you're off balance, you know, it totally, it's so relevant right now with being connected to the earth and being in our own body. And
it really is. And survival right now. People are
survival.
Survival. They're worried. They've had loss. They've had death. They've had, you know, this worry that they're going to get sick, and then money,
financial loss.
Things. Yeah. Like losing so many things. So the reality is that our pelvic floor, the root, is a really important piece as well for the belly, because if we're holding, you know, what happens is we subconsciously can hold tension in our body. So I wrote this article for Goop, like must have been like 5 years ago or something. It was after I had my first baby. And we talked about how we hold stress in these 5 areas, and they correlated with the chakras. So the pelvic floor is the first one, the source, because if you don't address that one, then you can't really get to the other ones more efficiently. And then we have the gut, the deep core, which is obviously the organs, the lower back, the sacrum, around the hips. Then we have the solar plexus, which I call the upper core, and that's really the diaphragm. So, you know, a lot of us have been sitting too much. I mean, maybe not. Well, I guess we are all sitting now too, but in general, in life, in the westernized world, we're all sitting too much. So our diaphragm is compressing down into the organs, and then that's compressing down into the pelvic floor. So we're not able to digest as well. So that's the third power center, because the power source is the pelvic floor, and then each of them is a power center. And I wrote about this 5 years ago. And then the next one is the heart and shoulders, right? So the weight of the world on our shoulders, kind of that forward posture that kind of leads to depression, also can create anxiety from just the energy not being able to move. And then of course we make our way up to the jaw, head, neck, jaw, kind of cranium. So there's 5 areas where I kept seeing in my clients where people were holding almost like, it felt like almost like plaque inside the body. Like I use that idea of kind of plaque because it feels like buildup, like congestion, buildup, thickness, density. Yeah, like scar tissue, things that we don't want in the body, right? Because anytime we have that tissue, the connective tissue that gets hard, thick, and dense, what happens is it's not getting circulation, it's not getting blood flow. So our fascia should be almost like this webbing, right? But then it closes down, and then the blood and the lymph and all the yumminess and the energy and the white blood cells and the immune system can't move that energy through. So we really want to make sure we can keep our connective tissue hydrated and open and supple. So those areas is why I wrote that book. And so when we bring it back to the belly, the gut is such an important area. As we know, many people believe it's our second brain. We have brain cells in our gut. It's connecting, you know, we have the vagus nerve that connects our belly to our brain. And of course, that's super important because when you're in fight or flight, you know, survival mode, like we're talking about, a lot of people are feeling that right now. We're not able to go into that calmer state of the nervous system. That's that rest, digest, and heal, which we really should be, you know, doing more of in these times when we're in our yin and our time at home. So when we address, you know, the pelvic floor, then the organs can start dropping down into the pelvic floor a little more. And then when you address the diaphragm, you can start lifting, the lungs start expanding more efficiently. You're bringing in more fresh oxygen. You're releasing more CO2. Your body starts to detoxify and cleanse itself in the way that it should, and also reboot all of your systems. When you have better posture, alignment, when you can breathe deeper, your whole system will be rebooted. Your metabolism, you'll sleep deeper, all of these things. So bringing it back to the belly rolling. Let me just show you my squishy ball. I love that you're doing the belly rolling with the belly massage. That's like a very Ayurvedic thing, right?
Yeah.
The ancient wisdoms, they all do that. But for some reason in America, we kind of lost that, or maybe it was because of liability or whatever. But in my practice, I've done so much hands-on work with the belly, because the visceral organs are the ones where we hold so much stress and tension, fear, and also, like you were saying earlier, like some people have constipation, some people have heaviness, bloating, all those things. So the belly is
all connected to the root chakra again.
You got it. Exactly. So I made this signature ball. It's like kind of the reason why I tried so many different ones to see exactly what I wanted. So this one is made in Italy. So number one, it's good. You can put this on your skin. It's non-toxic, which is super important, obviously, but also it has a special kind of like stickiness to it. So the best way to do your belly rolling is really on your skin. So skin to the ball.
Oh, okay.
Because it kind of hooks into the connective tissue. We call it, when we work with fascia, we call it hooking in. So you want to feel it sort of hook in, and then it sort of, you know, basically melts the tissue and then hydrates it. So it's not really that you're rolling like you would on your foam roller as much. It's more like you're moving your body around the ball, and you want to make sure this one, you can see it's a little more squished, right?
Yeah.
So we only blow it up about 60 to 70% to do the belly organ massage. You don't want to use a foam roller to massage your organs. That's definitely going to be too deep. One time I saw somebody using like a basketball. I was like, you got to be, that is insane. Like, no, your organs are so gentle. Like you want to be really gentle and kind, and like also be thinking of positive energy when you're doing, like, I always think every time we roll, we can also think of our affirmations. We can think of positive, you know, sort of elevated emotions and infuse that into our body as we're rolling, and as we're shedding the stuff we don't want to carry anymore. We now have space to integrate and kind of put more energy and good love into our systems and into our field. So
I'm sold, girl. Cool. I'm sold.
I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
I'm eager to try all of this. I'm like, I love it.
I know.
It sounds so yummy.
We can totally do, like, after this, we can do another chat, like another one where we work out together, and we could do
that would be fun.
Like because we could do an upper back massage and neck massage. I have like a cranial sacral sequence that I have inside the studio, which I think people would love right now. So
all of these little tricks, and I think that's what it is right now too, is just like getting these little tools that will help you when you are getting into that fight or flight, or when you're having an anxious day, or you're living in fear. Just like to go into your little toolbox and be like, I'm going to get my roller out and roll for a couple minutes, or I'm going to meditate, or whatever it is that, you know, you have as a resource to reach out to in a positive way, even if it's just an affirmation or a mantra or anything like that. Yeah.
I always give people, I was going to say, I give people the tool, and you probably do this as well. But I always recommend, like, before you start moving, I always say, okay, sit up and do like a little body scan and sort of feel, where are you holding heaviness, thickness, like a sense of, a sense of like, what's the word? Like not dis-ease, but more of like discomfort, more of like, where are you feeling discomfort? Because usually when we do tune in, we actually can connect to the places that are hurting or have pain. And those are all messages. Those are our body's way of communicating with us. So if we do that before we even jump into moving, it can be very helpful to sort of guide us into where we need to create space, open up our tissues, hydrate. Do we need to invert more? Do we need to twist? Do we need to side bend? Do we need to extend, flex? What does our body need? Or maybe we need to go for a walk and get some fresh air instead of doing stretching or whatever. So I always say recommend that first. And then as we're in that state, we can start bringing in those elevated emotions and realize we're so lucky we can take a few minutes to actually be grateful and actually look after our bodies and take some time to do this. And I just think it's really good to, again, think about those affirmations as we're moving. And then I also recommend to dry brush before you start doing your rolling as well, because then you're getting that lymph system going. I'm sure you're a big dry brusher.
Yes.
And as well, we speak the same language.
Yes.
But doing the dry brushing before the rolling, I always do the sequence of
I
dry
love
brush,
that.
roll, and then rebound, because the rebounder also aids in that lymphatic drainage, helps flush the body of toxins, helps flush fat, helps lean out, but also helps get rid of like emotional energy as well. So doing that combo almost becomes like your own in-home spa / yoga studio / gym.
Yeah.
And if you're really fancy, you could do a hot bath after and then take some charcoal after, and that really purifies you. Or you can do a sauna if you have the luxury of having a sauna. A lot of people have those at-home saunas, but that's just like it sounds like a lot, but it's actually only like maybe 40 minutes total.
Yeah.
But I always think like make the most of what we have. If we have this time at home, what about making our own little in-home spa? Even if you live in like a studio apartment, you could put one little corner of your apartment and make it into, put a green plant, get a few body rolling tools, get a candle, or get some sage, a little bundle of sage or whatever kind of floats your boat or whatever, and create this little sanctuary for yourself to know that you can go meditate there, you can go move there, you can breathe, you can roll, whatever feels good. So yeah,
it's so important. All those little rituals. And for those of you guys that don't know, Lauren has an entire, if you're just joining us, she has an entire line of aligned healing tools. Yeah. And the rebounder she was just talking about, if you guys don't know, it's a mini trampoline. So it doesn't take up that much space.
No, it doesn't. You could actually see mine over there a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
The roller and the rebounder. Yeah.
And it's great for your lymphatic system. Everybody, like a lot of people, I feel like still don't understand how great rebounding is, especially for women.
Yes. For cellulite, it's amazing. It's also great for, it's the lowest impact form of cardio on the planet. It's 50% more effective for cardiovascular and fat burning than running. And it also helps regenerate the pelvic floor. Now you have to go slow and steady. Like even women that haven't had babies tend to have pelvic floor issues from possibly like sitting too much or holding that stress and tension down there.
Not using it.
Not using it. Thank you. Exactly, babe. That's right. So there's lots of different, we all kind of as women need to keep working that area. So regenerating the pelvic floor, reducing cellulite, even losing weight after having babies. That's how I lost my weight. What's that?
Yeah. Bone density. It's
bone density. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I always feel like it must be stimulating oxytocin and serotonin, because you always feel like a little kid when you're on there. You just kind of feel like you just want to freestyle, like put some fun music on and just move your body in all the different ranges of motion and like let your head swing a little bit, get that sort of kundalini energy coming up through the spine, and just get those wiggles out. We all need that.
Let it go.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I love about everything that you do, what it sounds like to me is so much of it is letting go. Like it's more of like a restorative, joyful practice of letting go. Whether you're rolling or jumping or brushing or, everything is, and emotionally, just letting that shit go.
Totally.
that we hold,
need that right
that
now.
we hold on to in our body. I mean, I know for me, I mean, I don't know if you know my story, but I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis 11 years ago.
Oh,
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, so much of my practice since I've been diagnosed is letting go. It's been more of the restorative, gentle, you know, the mimicking of the jaw release and other areas of the body, like just letting go. Because I literally hold it in my body, in my joints, you know. So so I
it's
love
that surrender energy, right? That's the yin. We're all being called to do more of the yin, and this is the time, the rise of the feminine energy. And that's not just the women, right? It's the feminine energy in us all. And so it's that nurturing, you know, that's why it's so good right now to be connecting to Mother Earth and cooking and spending time with our loved ones, and like, you know, kind of like you said, surrendering, allowing, letting go of the old ways, the old systems, the old paradigms, and like opening up to the possibility of what is on the other side of this, you know, obstacle that we're all going through together. There's so much opportunity for us to all reinvent ourselves, become more of who we really are inside, not just on the outside, right? So it's a really interesting time, and it's, you know, it's not easy. I mean, trust me, I'm like, this morning I was like, oh my God, I'm going to lose it with my kids. Like, I just, you know, it's been like a month we've been like this, doing all the different jobs. Yeah. And I just had to go in my bedroom, and I just was like, just let it out. Like, even sound therapy is really good. Like, let it out, you know, like, don't fucking hold that in, because you will swallow those emotions, and then you'll want sugar or alcohol or drugs or something. So let that shit out. You know, let it come to the surface.
Or give it to the earth. Do something.
Exactly. Recycle it. But don't hold it in. And I'm like, I told my kids, and I'm like, you guys, I made a noise, but that wasn't because of you. It was because I just needed to let it out, and just communicating that and sort of being open with them about it. And they're like, oh, that's another way that we can release our stuff too. You know, like sound therapy. It's really powerful.
A healthy way to transmute it. Like, I think that's so important too, to bring that up. Like, you have, there's healthy ways to get rid of this stuff. Like, if you're going through something and you're having a hard time, especially right now, like, it's totally normal. And I think it's great to find a healthy outlet to get rid of it, you know, whatever it is for you.
Yeah, I felt like I could really just like, okay, I'm done with that now. And now I can just do a little breathing and then be super excited about this amazing day. But like, if I had held that, then I probably would have been grinding my teeth or something, or like, you know what I mean? Like, or I would have, my shoulders would have been my ears. Like, we're all a work in progress. So, but I think we have to have these conversations and be open to, it's not always about perfection. It's about, you know, authenticity and openness and support and collaboration right now, right? Like, that's what, you're amazing that way too. It's really important, and it feels good.
Yeah, it does. Well, you've already offered so many like amazing little go-to rituals, but is there anything that you haven't mentioned that maybe you're doing now during quarantine that you weren't doing before?
You know, I've been so into cooking. I'm sure you have too. That's kind of been what I look forward to.
My boyfriend does all the, I'm like,
oh, that's cool.
He has the kitchen. I'm like, you can have the kitchen.
That's awesome.
He loves it. Like, when I was first diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, one of the things that I was told to do, I had a macrobiotic counselor, and one of the things was like ginger scrubbing. So we would use ginger juice and like scrub my whole body. But it was basically like, I was giving love to areas of my body that I never paid attention to.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a lot of what your practice is like,
definitely.
When's the last time, you know, the back of your leg got any love, or your belly, or like your, you know what I mean? And that's what dry brushing and scraping, all these things help you do, is like, just give attention to your body.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. I know. And it's that mindset, or sort of the thoughts that we're having while we're doing those things, or I guess while we're doing anything in life, really. Because it's like, we really, especially now with wanting to raise our immune system, we want to keep raising our vibration, and we want to lower the inflammation, and we want to, you know, elevate our vibration so that we are kind of existing in that place where we're not going to be, I mean, I believe that, you know, we get sick when we're in that lower vibration, any kind of sickness, not just, you know, the coronavirus, but any kind of sickness. So the more we can focus on raising our vibration Yeah, so that's why I talk a lot about like shedding the layers. And then when you have that space, what are you going to put in there? Like, are you going to look at this time as a victim or a creator? I like to kind of just bring that idea of like, wow, like we're all in this together. I mean, every day I think, well, at least we're all in this together. You know what I mean? Like as a global community, you know? So
I think it's the first time too. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of like light workers and conscious people that have felt that way for years, but
yeah,
I feel like everybody is starting to understand how connected we actually are, and how we really are all in this together, and how we choose to take care of ourselves individually affects the whole.
That's
and
right.
I think that's like the biggest motivation right now when I feel when people are saying I'm having a hard time or this or that. The way that you choose to take care of yourself right now, it's just those little things that you're doing for yourself, I feel like is creating the future for all of us, you know, this better world that we're shifting into, you know, collectively.
Yeah, actually, that made me just think of something where, you know, when people right now, a lot of people are feeling hopeless, right? They're like, what am I going to do? How am I going to move forward? I think the best thing the advice we can give is to be that change, sort of be the magic that you want to see. And also like realize that if anything right now, just focus on going within, breathing deeper, you know, doing some earthing, getting some fresh air, getting some sort of movement, not necessarily for like fitness, but for mental health, then allowing this whole, like that surrender, right? And allowing the whole thing to just unfold, and really just keep realizing that when you do that for yourself, you're sending that message to the field, right? That energetic quantum field where we're going to actually all elevate together. And, you know, again, it's not perfect, but if we can just all focus a little bit on ourselves and realize that's helping the collective, then that's such a beautiful thing. If everyone can feel that somehow, and I know sometimes it feels woo-woo for certain people to think that way, but if we really are, everything is energy, then how could it not? You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's definitely, I think you're the same. Collectively, when this happened, I felt a calling, like, okay, it's my job to like keep the vibration high.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm feeling good right now. I mean, God forbid if one of my family members or I were to get the coronavirus, I would need others to be strong for us. You know, so right now I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. So I want to spread the light, spread the joy, the positive energy, keep things up. And
you are doing that, babe.
Oh, thank you, girl. You too.
Inspiring. Thank you.
That's why I'm so happy we connected.
Absolutely. We'll do it again for sure. We have so many
Let's
more
do
things
it.
to
Yeah,
we'll do like
I want to do some like rolling and some tricks. I'm so sold on all that. Like I have this awful roller. I'm gonna go get on it right now. Just so I can feel.
No, it's fine. Anything works. I mean, if you have a roller, like anyone that's watching, the thing that's great is I always think that the roller is like your own in-private masseuse, your own in-home private masseuse, and your own personal trainer or Pilates teacher. So you can do so much with this. It's not about just rolling out your IT bands or like, you know, doing physical therapy. You self-massage every part of you, and then the ball even goes deeper because it goes into the areas where you can't roll. And then also, you know, then you do a full Pilates workout, which again, like I said, I discovered the roller when I was doing my Pilates training, and the amount of things you can do that mimic basically like having a reformer in your home is incredible.
Wow.
It's just like, and it
we'll have to go live again and do a little 20-minute workout or something. So people can, everybody go get your rollers so you have it.
So you can join us.
When we do our little workout.
I think you guys will love it for sure.
I want to ask you one more question. I always ask people this. What is your golden secret?
Ooh. Ooh, I love that. Okay, my golden secret is presence.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. As soon as I
get there when you're not there.
Moment. Yeah. Well, I think it's just having that awareness, that consciousness, and it's not always, but when I do come to the present moment and be and exist in it, I'm like, oh gosh, here's the joy, here's the happiness, here's the, you know, take a deep breath, ground my feet, feel supported by the earth, and realize that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. So.
And in this moment, we're okay.
Yes.
We're
And that's
okay,
really all we
guys.
have is this moment, right? That's what Peter always talks about. Love
Yes.
Peter. Have you had him on yet?
Yes, that's why I was laughing so hard. I'm like, our connection is so, we're like 1 degree of separation. I had him on the other day. You had him on the other day. And me and you were connecting. I was like,
I know.
It's funny because a friend of mine posted a meme this morning. He's like, I haven't been this social in years. I hope it continues after quarantine. And I seriously feel the same way.
Me too.
I
love it. I know.
Yeah, I've been like reaching out, connecting, collaborating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you've been amazing and such an inspiration. Keep doing it. Keep shining that light bright. So amazing.
Thank you so much, sister.
Absolutely.
And for all of you that are watching, you guys, this will be on for 24 hours, but it will be on EverTalk TV afterwards too.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, so we'll save this so you guys can go back to it and watch it.